What's up YouTube, Gemini Johnny back again with another compilation of creepy TikToks to make you question everything. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna wear these the whole time, don't worry. This is day 22 of the 25 days of creepy, where I'm taking you through the weirdest, creepiest, and most disturbing footage I can find every single day throughout the month of December, counting down to the 25th where we're gonna have the ultimate insert your holiday here marathon. So join me at 6:15 PST every day from the 1st to the 25th for the premiere of a brand new reaction video. Now without further ado, let's jump right in. Tight.
Dirty facts about history that school probably didn't teach you, part 14. Philosopher Jean-Jacques Rousseau would hide in alleyways, pull his pants down, and jump scare women ass first in hopes they would get scared and spank him in self-defense.
Oh, he a freak.
Apparently, this was his kink. A famous Irish pirate named Anne Bonny would fight with one boob out just to show that not only are you about to get murdered, but you're about to get murdered by an 18-year-old girl. Oh, This is my murder titty. York. The only slave on the Lewis and Clark expedition was a sensation among indigenous American women. They found the guy quite attractive, and he would tell them that he was part bear so they would sleep with him in hopes of producing a bear warrior baby. LBJ used to take out his pee-pee and show people how big it was. He referred to it as jumbo, and here's a phone call of him complaining to a clothing company that their pants were too tight on his ladybird lance.
The crotch down where your nuts hang is always a little too tight. If you can't leave me about an inch from where the zipper ends, round under my back to my bunghole.
Okay, but why did he sound just like my dad? Jean-Jacques Rousseau was a freak, man. Hey, look, not kink shaming, whatever you're into, I don't care. Do that on your own time. But once you start forcing that upon other people, non-willing participants, that's when we're gonna have a problem. What's the old saying? Whatever floats your boat as long as it doesn't rock mine. Yeah, don't be jumping ass out at people. That's rude and gross. In hopes that they would spank him. That's a wild hope. Why would that be your first reaction? Your first reaction would probably be just run away, right? It must have happened to him once, and he was just trying to seek that thrill again. Couldn't have happened more than once.
Jameson family is unlike anything you have heard. So this family right here, the Jameson family with the two parents and their 6-year-old daughter, for an unknown reason, they just packed their truck in 2009 and they had these plans to live in a storage unit, like on a plot of land. We would end up getting this security camera footage that was retained from their home, where they packed the truck and they did so completely silent, like they were in a trance or something. So the family does go missing after this day, but their truck is found abandoned and locked. It's really eerie because inside of this truck there was like 32 grand, all of their belongings, and their family dog was still in the truck alive. They end up finding the father's cell phone, and that's when they find something really disturbing. There's a picture of his 6-year-old daughter on the day they left, and she's just standing completely alone in the woods, just screaming, and nobody knows why he took this picture. 4 years later, all 3 bodies were found 3 miles away in the woods, and no one knows what happened to them or why they left.
Disturbing facts that will ruin your life. When whales reach a certain age, they will eventually be too weak to swim back to the surface for air, so they will just suffocate to death and eventually sink to the bottom of the ocean. When you die, you will be aware that you are dead until the moment your brain fully ceases function. When getting laser eye surgery, you can smell the parts of your eyes being shaved down. During the French Revolution, where the guillotine was introduced, the people to be executed fought to be first, as the blade would dull after multiple uses and wouldn't cut a head clean off at the first attempt. If you're male, after you die, your loved ones can have a doctor electrocute your prostate to force you to ejaculate for sperm. Humans have enough bite power to bite off their own finger, bone and all. The only thing stopping us is our brain's natural safety factor. A deceased human body can take between 24 to 48 hours to decompress, releasing the remaining blood, urine, and fecal matter, depending on the situation, position, and method of death. If you die on a submarine, they put your body in the fridge with all the food. If not, up a torpedo tube. It's actually common that corpses will periodically burp, fart, gasp, groan as gases escape through the mouth and anus. When you get burned by electricity, it actually leaves marks shaped like lightning on your skin.
I don't know if any of those ruined my life, but certainly a gross start to this video.
Things caught on camera. Bailey is a TikTok user who works in a so-called haunted theater. As the story goes, the owner of the theater apparently died 30 years ago in a tragic accident and still haunts his theater to this day. One night when Bailey is alone in his job, he finds something terrifying. Take a look.
Alright guys, so I work at this old theater and I've been hearing a noise. What is that?
follow if you saw anything.
Ooh.
These are some of the most disturbing things ever found on the dark web, part 1. And this video is going to give you a clear example as to why not to send nude photos, ever. Today we're going to be talking about the website called Pink Meth, and it doesn't involve drugs. Pink Meth was basically a marketplace and a website for men where they would go and sell their ex's nude photos for revenge and for a large amount of money. And if you thought that was the worst part, keep watching. These men would post literally anything they knew about you, even stuff that you didn't even know they knew. And I'm not kidding, these guys literally had full list of your personal information, whether that be your phone number, your home address, or even your family's private information. They would do anything to get dirt on your name. They don't care about how you're feeling, what it's going to do to your reputation, or anything like that. In fact, they all want one thing: money. The men would send the women's ransom nude photos to them and say, either you pay up the money or I'm gonna let the dark web do whatever they want with your private information. So this is why I urge you, don't do it.
This is the most dangerous movie ever made. This movie is called Roar, and the cast and crew of this movie endured monstrous dangers, both on camera and off. Malini Griffith was mauled near her eyes and needed plastic surgery. A man named Hendren contacted gangrene and needed skin grafts. Another person named Marshall was mauled by the lion repeatedly and had very bad blood poisoning. The cinematographer John DeBont had his scalp torn off and needed more than 120 stitches. Over 100 people were injured or severely hurt during the making of this movie, which is why it has the name of the most dangerous movie ever made. If you ever decide to watch this movie, most of the blood that you see on screen is actually 100% real.
More high-risk activities I will never understand. You didn't need to film with lions. You didn't need to make a movie about lions living in a home with people. It's not a thing that happens very often. You don't have a very big audience for that. Pretty small market share. So you didn't need to make that movie. I hope the people that decided to make that movie were in that list of 100 people that got hurt while working on that movie, because that would only be fair. It'd be unfair if it was all the grips and stage hands. It'd be pretty unfair if it was all the grips and stage hands and sound guys. They were the ones getting messed up by these lions. But if it was the producer and the writer and the director, the people that are actually making that movie happen, I'm all for it, because that's what you get. Yeah, that's what happens when you decide to make a movie with live lions. There's a couple dorks in Vegas that could tell you all about it. Or one dork in Vegas, I guess.
This is maybe the scariest urban legend I've ever heard, and it ended up being true. Back in the 1970s, there was this terrifying fun house in Long Beach, California called The Laugh in the Dark. And there was always this urban legend that all the mannequins inside were fake, except for one. Also, mind you, this is what this week's episode is about, so if you don't want spoilers, just listen to the episode. This urban legend came to be because there was one mannequin inside that just looked wrong. All of the other ones looked fake, but this one in particular looked way too human. And a bunch of the kids also said the area that the mannequin was in just smelled really, really bad. So a few years go by, and one day a film crew comes in and is using Laugh in the Dark for a film set. The director's lining up a shot, and he just doesn't like the way this one mannequin looks in frame. So he goes over to a crew member and he's like, hey, can you just move this out of the shot? So the crew member goes over and starts moving the mannequin when its arm pops off. And inside of the mannequin's arm is human bone. The kids had been totally right. The mannequin was a mummified body. There's so much more to this story, like who the person was and how they got there, and I talk about the whole thing this week on the episode.
Things humans weren't meant to see. A man traveled to Egypt and placed a remote-controlled car inside one of the pyramids. The original poster claimed to have found something the government would want to keep a secret. He also wanted to be paid $5 million for the rest of the footage to be revealed, but it never did.
Of course.
As it gets deeper, it shows what appears to be a tall figure inside the chambers.
I like rusty spoons. I like to touch them. The feeling of rust against my salad finger.
Take my strong hand.
Take my hand! Ah!
What'd you do if somebody reached out to you to shake your hand with that? No offense to anybody that's got a hand like that, but if you do have a hand like that and you go to shake someone's hand, you need to warn them, okay? You can't just go in with that thing blind, alright? Not trying to body shame or anything, just, it's different, and people are gonna have a reaction to it.
These are the top 5 scariest videos I found online. I bet you can't make it to the end of this video because the last one is wild. Number 5, possessed chef. This man looked to be working his normal job in the kitchen, cooking, making food, and then suddenly he starts acting bizarre, as if he's possessed. As you can see, he kind of goes into like a zombie-like state, standing over hot boiling grease and seems to be wobbling. Yeah, I'm not showing the rest of that. But yeah, he did what you think he did. Anyone ordered a fried facial? If there's one way to get rid of pimples, that is not it. Before we get to the next one, can you heart this video for me? I work hard on these videos, and I love you. Number 4, a woman named Carrie said she started experiencing weird activities in her home. She would hear strange noises, and her stuff would even be moved. So she decided to get a security camera for when she's not home. One day she got an alert on her phone, and this is what she caught.
No, thank you. Oh my god.
A dark figure can be seen approaching the person sleeping on the bed. Moments later, it quickly darts to the left, just before the lights come on. Look, if a ghost is gonna be in my house, at least pay rent. Please. That's the least you can do. I got bills. It just tastes like, yo mama's booty. All honesty, I'm sorry for eating in front of your face. Just because I made you suffer, your 5th at has to buy you food for the rest of this week. Let me know who it is so I can tell them to buy you food because I said so. Check this out. A team of investigators go to investigate a place called The Cage that is located in the UK. Now, for over 400 years, it was a prison that held women who were accused of witchcraft. Now, they started to conduct a seance in the basement. And look what happens to one of the team members named Debbie's face. Her smile elongates, eyes turn black, and then it just goes back to normal. Now, Debbie recalls this never even happening, but during that time, she felt itching and burning down the back of her neck. After this, for weeks, she could not sleep and was having terrible nightmares. Y'all better stop messing with them demons. Stay home. Start a family. Stop this. Stop it. A man is upstairs in the gym in the middle of the day. Starting his workout, he's stretching, and then he sees a medicine ball move suddenly. Now, I guess he got a little weirded out of this because he was like, okay, I'm out. I don't know what moved that ball, but I'm out. That's when all of a sudden his foot gets dragged up from underneath him by what seems to be some sort of invisible entity. He darts downstairs to the bottom gym and tells security and begs them to let him see the footage. Now, I don't know how you fake something like this, because it looks legit to me.
I've watched that last one probably, I don't know, 100 times. It's real creepy. If it was faked, it was done incredibly well. I don't know, yeah, like Khalil's life was saying. I don't know how you would have faked that. Between him running up to the security desk and asking for the footage and all that. I've watched it in slow motion, his foot get yanked up, and it looks like it doesn't look like he kicks his leg up. It looks like something yanks his damn leg up. Yeah, it's a weird one. It's one of my favorite videos. It's one of my favorite, like, paranormal, unexplained videos.
Looks like an average family photo, right?
Last one's dead.
This girl died shortly before this picture was taken and positioned for one last photo.
Sad.
These are scary cartoon truths that'll terrify you, part 20. Okay, so Rick's Morty is not his original Morty. According to this theory, he abandoned his original Morty, as seen in the title song sequence of the pilot episode, where Rick and Morty are both running from giant frog monsters, and Rick then jumps through a portal, leaving Morty to fight off the frog creatures himself. Fans theorize that this Morty actually fought off the frog creatures, and went on to become Evil Morty. This is actually insane, so let me know what you think about this.
A longtime subscriber asked me recently in a comment to do some Rick and Morty, or do some, I don't remember exactly how they worded it. They didn't call it promotion, but they wanted me to raise awareness that season 7 of Rick and Morty is out. And I haven't responded, but I might by the time this drops. And I'll just say what I was going to say to them is, pretty sure they have a marketing department, and if they want to cut me a check, I will tell everyone I know and post it in every video that their new season is out, which I guess I'm kind of doing for free right now. But that's your one. That's your one free promo right there, Rick and Morty. Whoever's running that show nowadays, you got one free promo from Gemini Jonny. You're welcome. Now cut me my check.
So one time someone did dive headfirst into boiling water at Yellowstone after a dog.
Can't do
In
that.
1981, David Kerwan was at Yellowstone with a friend when his friend's dog got away and jumped into a 200-degree hot spring. People around were screaming at David to not go in after the dog, but he didn't even give it a second thought. He just dove straight in. Some people completely dissolve when they do this because the pools tend to be very acidic, which I talk about in this week's episode, but that didn't happen here. So David was able to swim out far enough to get the dog, but he realized it was way too hot, so he had to leave the dog and turned around to come back. His friend was able to pull him out, but at this point David was completely blind from the boiling water getting into his eyes. A stranger had also run over to help, and he tried to take David's shoe off of his foot, but David's skin had completely melted and started coming off with the shoe. And on top of all of this tragedy, Moosey, the dog, unfortunately didn't make it out of the hot spring. She was completely lost. And David also succumbed to the burns the next day. You'd assume at this point people know the dangers of the hot springs, but people go into them way more often than you'd think. If you have a dark curiosity about this kind of stuff, you might be interested in the episode I just
I feel like I don't need to say don't do that, but just in case, don't do that. It's not a hot tub. You can't handle it. You're not tough. You might be tough, but you're not that tough. Trust me, I've done the research. I want to get in one too, but don't do it. Don't do it, it's bad.
La casa está embrujada. Vete para allá conmigo. ¡Ey! No, no hagan eso.
Pues ya deberían saberlo.
No, pero se estaban abriendo ahorita bien feo, o sea, ahorita está bien leve. No manches, no lo digas. ¿Quieres que no? Ay, no, tío.
Se están abriendo solos.
No manches. Ay, no. Ay, me da miedo.
Even the dog is confused.
Ya cerré los dos.
Oh.
Órale, que aquí espantan. Échale las cosas. Es todo por irte el Día de Muertos a celebrar. Trajiste algo, tío.
No, porque aquí dijiste.
Por ir a tus... ¿Cómo se llama? ¿Cómo? ¿A dónde fue? Mira, mira otra vez. No manches, ya.
Man, that's weird. It went slow too.
¿Qué?
No lo voy a bajar. ¿Se cerró?
Can't push it close with a string.
Hay que traerle un padrecito. Abuelita, ya me dio miedo, en serio, no lo estoy cotorreando.
That's a weird one, man. I don't know.
No digas, no, vámonos ya, abuelita. Yo me voy con mi tío Diego, ahorita vengo.
I don't even know what they were saying, and I can still tell their reactions were legitimate. Oh, that was weird. It also wasn't too over the top, so, I mean, How did, yeah, it's wild. What do you do? Fucking tape the drawers closed? They just don't use drawers anymore. You're just gonna have to leave all your silverware on the counter, make do. It's 2x4. Pull the drawers out. What are they gonna do if you pull the drawers out? But there you have it, folks. That is day 22 of the 25 days of creepy in the books. We did it, we've done it. We're doing it some more. If you enjoyed this kind of content, be sure and check out the entire 25 Days of Creepy playlist in the description below. And if you finish that, go back and check out my TikToktober playlist, where I did a brand new reaction video every single day for the month of October. And last but not least, don't forget to check out my Out of Place Ancient Artifacts video. I always put it right there at the end for you, so you can watch it next, or, you know, whenever's good for you. And until next time, which is tomorrow, stay creepy.